What if I told you that the story of the Bible had already happened, told long before the apostles ever walked the earth? What if I told you that this story is much older than you think? We are not looking at a new revelation, but at an echo from a lost time, a code written in clay that predates the parchment. The question haunting historians and theologians is simple, yet profound. Was the Bible written by direct divine inspiration? Or was it a process of compiling much older memories? When we look at the plains of Mesopotamia, we find the famous clay tablets of Nippur and the Enuma Elish. There, thousands of years before Moses was born, the creation account already existed in technical detail. Where Genesis says, "Let us make man in our image," the Sumerians describe a laborious process of mixing the essence of the gods with the clay of the earth. Could clay be an ancient metaphor for what we now call biology? The Bible mentions the Nephilim in only a few verses in Genesis chapter 6, calling them heroes of old. But the Dead Sea Scrolls, hidden for millennia in the Qumran caves, contain the Book of Giants. In it, the Nephilim are not just names, they have personalities. We hear about Ohia and Hahia, giants who had prophetic dreams about the flood. They felt fear. They knew their lineage was an affront to the natural order. When we cross-reference these names with Sumerian king lists, we realize we aren't talking about isolated myths, but a real lineage that dominated the pre-Diluvian world. The term Anunnaki in the Sumerian language literally means those who from heaven came. For the ancients, they were gods. For us today, the details in these tablets seem to describe something we understand well: genetic manipulation. They weren't just spiritual beings. They built cities like Eridu with urban planning impossible for that time. If the Bible rewrote these events, it turned technology into miracles and cosmonauts into deities. But the physical evidence, the multi-ton stones and astronomical alignments, suggest the Sumerians were being literal in their descriptions. The flood is the convergence point for almost all ancient cultures. In the Bible, it's an act of divine judgment. But in Sumerian texts like the Epic of Gilgamesh, the hero Utnapishtim receives technical instructions to build a vessel to preserve the seed of all life. Note the word, seed. Was the flood a planned method to eradicate the hybrid Nephilim lineage and restart the human experiment? The Ark, described as a perfect cube in some ancient versions, looks more like a biological DNA vault than a simple wooden boat. Here is the secret many theologians avoid: the Babylonian exile. In the 6th century BC, the intellectual elite of Israel was taken to the heart of Mesopotamia. There they had direct contact with Babylonian libraries containing copies of ancient Sumerian tablets. It was during this period that many Old Testament texts were compiled. The scribes weren't just writing, they were adapting the history of the Anunnaki to a monotheistic vision. They rewrote the code to ensure a people's survival, leaving crumbs of the past for those who know how to read between the lines. Today, modern science is discovering junk DNA in our genetic code, parts of our genome we don't understand. Could this be the mark of the Nephilim? Is the Sumerian Code proof that we are an ongoing project? When we compare the Bible with the clay tablets and the Dead Sea Scrolls, we realize the truth isn't in just one book, but in the connection between all of them. We are the descendants of a history much more complex than we were told. And now that the code has been broken, there is no going back.